All right, welcome to the afternoon session of the Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025 board meeting. Please remember to silence your phones. And we are going to start with P43.
Right, P43 was advertised in Tampa Bay Times on July 9th, July 16th, July 23rd, and July 30th, 2025.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nectarios Pitos, Planning Development Economic Growth. Item P43 is an ordinance, is PDD 250173. This is an ordinance amending the Pasco County Ordinance Number 2140, contracting and expanding the boundaries of the Two Rivers North Community Development District. This comes with a request to approve the continuance to the October 7, 2025 Board of County Commissioners meeting at 1:30 p.m. in Dade City.
Okay. I need a motion.
I move to continue meeting. What was the date?
October 7.
Second? Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. P44.
P44 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times July 23rd, 2025, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Item P44 is PDE 250395. This is an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan for a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map 2-15 and sheet 08 from AGR agricultural rural to Res 1, residential one dwelling unit per gross acre on approximately 19.69 acres of real property located on the north side of Blanton Road, approximately 2,150 feet east of the intersection of Blanton Road and Trilby Road. This is actually the adoption hearing for this item, so there is a request to continue this to the November 12, 2025 Board of County Commissioners meeting at 1:30 p.m. in Dade City.
Move to continue time certain? Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
P45.
P45 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times July 9th, July 16th, July 23rd, and July 30th, 2025.
Item P45 is PDE 250184. This is an ordinance amending the Pasco County Ordinance Number 2141, contracting and expanding the boundaries of the Two Rivers West Community Development District. This comes to you with a request to continue the item to the October 7, 2025 Board of County Commissioners meeting at 1:30 p.m. in Dade City.
Move to continue time certain? Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
P46. Did everyone vote on that one, Lisa? Did
Yes.
you? Okay.
P46 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times May 7th, May 14th, May 21st, and May 28th, 2025.
Item P46 is PDE 250166. This is an ordinance amending Pasco County Ordinance Number 2409, contracting the boundaries of the Two Rivers East Community Development District pursuant to Chapter 190 Florida statutes, providing for miscellaneous provisions, providing for an effective date. This comes to you with a recommendation to adopt the proposed Community Development District ordinance, and by roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Okay.
Interesting.
Any questions?
So for purposes of the record, the motion
The motion.
in the packet is adopt, it needs to be corrected to be adopt the proposed ordinance amendment by roll call vote.
Correct.
Okay, is there anyone here who wishes to speak to this item?
So Chairman, there's one individual signed up, but it's not clear for which item, so I will call David Tuttle. Did you want to speak to this item?
Well, that was to the solid waste assessment.
Okay, we're not there.
All right, thank you.
Okay, anyone online to speak to this item?
No, ma'am.
I'll take a motion.
Move approval?
Second.
All in favor?
Roll
Oh,
call.
I'm sorry.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Yeager.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 3, Chairman Starkey.
Aye. Okay, P47.
Stand by. All right, P47 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times August 13th, 2025.
Item P47 is PDE 250425. This is an ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners amending the Pasco County Land Development Code, amending Chapter 100 to create Section 106.6, amendments after August 1, 2024, and other sections as necessary for internal consistency, providing for applicability repealer, providing for severability inclusion into the Land Development Code, and an effective date. This is the first public hearing of the proposed land development code amendment, and we have a presentation.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Board of County Commissioners. Rebecca Bowe, Planning Development and Economic Growth, here to present PDE 250425, Section 106, amendments of this code. Someone need to pull up the PowerPoint for me?
Can you talk more into that microphone?
Yes. Sorry, last time I felt like I was right there.
No.
I have okay, here we go. So on July 15th, 2025, the board considered how Senate Bill 180 would affect new regulations in Pasco County. Specifically, those that have been affected by a hurricane. So as part of that conversation, the Board of County Commissioners directed the county to proceed with business as usual, except where any new regulations might affect a property damaged by a hurricane. So we're proposing Section 106.6 amendments after August 1st, 2024. Am I going? Thank you. Okay, so essentially what this amendment is saying is that any new regulations that the county proposes are applicable across the county except where a property has been damaged by a hurricane, and that would apply to any code amendments, resolutions, manuals, or written procedures. Next slide. We took this item to the Planning Commission on August 21st, 2025, and they found it consistent with the comprehensive plan. They recommended adding some additional language to reflect Senate Bill 80 more appropriately regarding proximity, tract, and landfall. And then they recommended defining properties damaged by a hurricane. So this is the amendment we're proposing. The text in italics is the changes that were made post the local planning agency's recommendations. So as mentioned, this is the first public hearing, and we're hoping for final adoption at 9/16. And that's it. I'm here for questions if you have them.
Can you go back to the red typed screen and just let us peruse that just for a second?
Chair, who's the subject matter on this? David Goldstein?
I think David is, yeah. And I listened to the planning committee discussion.
Yeah, I think, Chair, we have a good audience here. How far in depth do we want to talk about Senate Bill 180 with hurricane season upon us, and what this is doing to put us in a better position with regards to the state's new requirements?
So, as I explained to you at the last time this came up to the board, this legislation is not a model of clarity. In fact, I would say that, remember all the complaints we've had about Live Local, this is probably even worse in terms of how clear the bill is.
Yeah.
And it's subject to many competing interpretations. This change to the code effectively implements an interpretation that Senate Bill 180 is limited to properties damaged by hurricane. I can't tell you definitively that the court's going to uphold that interpretation or not, but it is consistent with what the board directed us at the last meeting in terms of how we should interpret Senate Bill 180. I will tell you that we do have a legislative proposal. Ralph has already submitted that to the Florida Association of Counties. It's going to be discussed, I think, at their next meeting. There's probably 3 or 4 other counties that have already joined our legislative proposal to clearly limit the impact of this bill to properties damaged by a hurricane. And so this code amendment is consistent with what we're requesting that the legislature actually clarify in the law. So I believe that at least attempting to implement Senate Bill 180 in some form gives us a better defense if we're sued than just ignoring the law. There are some jurisdictions that are basically just choosing to ignore the law entirely, and I'm not sure it's going well for them, or they're just implementing an affirmative lawsuit against the state, which I'm not sure that's going to go well either. We're just trying to set this up so that we can best defend any claims made under Senate Bill 180. Hopefully we get the legislature to fix the law so it's consistent with this interpretation. But in the interim, we do have regulations on the books that are potentially affected. And so this is basically codifying an exemption for properties damaged by a hurricane from those regulations.
Commissioner, I was on the Florida Association of Counties call yesterday where it's the community something group, I don't know what it's called there, I'm now a voting member of it. And this came up, and yeah, there are some counties who are just totally ignoring everything. But for the most part, this is what most people think is what they meant. I mean, there's some, I think it was a bill that happened at the very end and didn't get a chance to get.
And we had
right.
one of our lobbyists from Southern Groups actually spoke to the sponsor of the bill, and based on the conversation he had with him, we believe the Senate sponsor did intend.
Yes, that is.
This was his
our
intent when
understanding
he asked this bill to be adopted. But there may be other legislators that had a different intent. I can't tell you definitively because Commissioner Starkey's right. This is something that this language wasn't even in the final bill until the final day of the session. And it was something that the House put in that the Senate had previously objected to. So I can't tell you definitively what the legislature's intent was or how a court's going to interpret this law. But what I can tell you is the language we've drafted here is consistent with what the board directed us to do when we brought the fire rescue impact fee to you for action. And it's consistent with the legislative proposal that we've submitted to FAC. And do I think it's easier for us to defend a lawsuit if we implemented Senate Bill 180 in some form? Yes, I do. I think that's a better way to defend the law than to just ignore it entirely.
Yeah, it's not our, I just want to be clear, it's not our intent to ignore Senate Bill 180, like some.
Plus,
It's
I have to believe that our own board doesn't want to make things more difficult for properties damaged by a hurricane.
Yeah, so this is, for the most part, most of the state's understanding of what is meant. And that's kind of speaks to how hastily, potentially this was written and intent. So I'm fine with this.
Plus, there is an argument to be made that this is the only constitutional reading of the law. And I don't want to bore you with constitutional theories, but the whereas clauses of the ordinance do kind of get into that issue.
I think I recall you doing some challenges at the Planning Commission on that.
Commissioner Moody seemed to think he had a law degree, so
Yeah.
I guess I had to
That was pretty rich.
have
Although
the
this
conversation.
passed unanimously at the Planning Commission.
Commissioner Moody actually voted against it, but
Oh, okay.
the rest of the Planning Commission did vote for it.
Yeah. There's a lot of things in that bill that are undefined.
And that is one of our constitutional arguments, is that
Yeah.
it's incredibly vague.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, any other questions on this? All right, this is a public hearing. Does anyone here wish to speak to, what number are we? P47. Is there anybody online to speak to P47?
No one online, no one signed up.
Okay,
No action
This
required.
is the first
First reading.
okay,
hearing.
okay.
Jerry, do you know when the second hearing for this is?
Let's see if it's written here.
September 16th.
The adoption hearing will be September 16, 2025.
Oh, here it is. It's publicized. BCC adoption at NPR on 9/16/2025. A very, very important day. This is my birthday. Okay, P48.
P48 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times August 20th, 2025.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tracy Overturf, Public Infrastructure, Fiscal, and Business Administration Interim Director. Item P48 is a resolution revising the water wastewater and reclaimed water rates, fees, and charges, and providing an effective date. This is the second public hearing on this item, with the first being in Newport Richey on 8/19. And we have our consultant, Justin Grant, here to present the finding and recommendations of the study. And we also have the utilities team here to answer any questions you may have.
Public hearing.
Good afternoon. Great to see you all again. All right, Justin Grant, Stantec.
Justin, are you thinking you're going to do that presentation that you did last time?
You know what? Thank you so much for interrupting me, because I was going to ask the board if they would like to see the presentation again, right? Given it's the second public hearing, but certainly I'll take direction from the board on whatever they'd like to do.
What I'm going to check and see, is there anyone here that is here to speak to this utility rate study public hearing? One person? There's two? I can't see the other hand.
Not solid waste, utilities. Is that, you here for,
So the water and sewer utility, yes, correct.
Oh,
that's 49. That's the next item.
okay, but before you start, let me have him do the procedures.
Well,
Are
we can do that.
this
I
one?
was gonna let you go through 48 and 49 and then
Oh,
do them at 50,
okay.
but
We're not,
it's up to you.
no, she just thought we had to do it now, so I was following what she said. Okay, do we want the full presentation?
Madam Chair,
Yep.
I don't need the full presentation, but I did have some people from the Trinity Era Wind Tree that wanted to speak. I don't know if they're online.
I do not have anyone online.
Oh, they're here. Never mind. Okay, all right, so this is the item you want to speak to. Okay.
Okay, well, why don't you go ahead and give your presentation and let me answer some
Okay.
of these questions.
So you'd like me to give it once more?
How long was it? We have
Okay.
all day, though.
Mike's answer is absolutely appropriate, as long as you want it to be or as short as you want it to be. I've only got about 10 slides in the base, right, and a couple in backup, depending on if the board would like to see them.
And you throw out a lot of numbers very quickly. It's my recollection.
You have a synopsis.
I'll take that as a compliment, hopefully.
Justin, do you have like a high level?
You know what's probably good is you're right, Commissioner. What I can do is I can probably do kind of slides 1 and 2, why are we here, what do we do, and go right to the recommendation slide that
Okay.
summarizes everything we've got. And that maybe will be a shorter version if the board likes that.
And then if we hear from the public
Sure.
and we haven't, gone over the
Sure.
parts, we
Yes,
can
ma'am.
have you come back up and answer the hows and whys and all that.
Absolutely, happy to
Okay.
do it. Okay, so we'll do the abbreviated. As we talked about, this one was given in full on 8/19, and so I'll walk through and get our clicker working here. Okay, perfect. So why do we do this? This is every 4 years, so this is kind of just the overall of why the board is considering this item. They do it through 2 public hearings, but ultimately they take a look at the utilities rate structure and kind of dump the bucket out, look at 4 major pillars, right? Look at those revenue requirements, how much, what are your operating costs, your capital costs, your financial policies and things that you need to adhere to for rating agencies, so on and so forth. How do you allocate said costs across your different customer groups, residential, commercial, industrial, et cetera? How do you design your rates? Why do you have certain block structures? Why do you have certain rates, fees, and charges? And how do those things compare to other utilities? And then ultimately, how do you reset, you take this opportunity here for other fees and charges when the utility decides to roll trucks and things for specialized services like meter installs and others, and including your environmental lab. Cost recovery is the game for the utility, and so the utility takes this opportunity to look at all the resources it expends to do those things and reset those fees to that. And so ultimately, let me go down, right, this is your timeline, and so we're here in September 2025, right, where we're doing the second hearing, and so this will be the board meeting where the board will consider adoption for the next 4 years, and then there in October, it'll implement for your residential and regular customers, and then in December, because of noticing requirements, those bulk rates will go into effect on 12/1. And this is where I'm going to skip through a lot of the other slides, and we're going to go right here to the end and kind of summarize what those recommendations are. So the financial management plan for this one is a 4-year plan that begins with a 375 increase in 26 and a 475 increase starting in 27 through 29. There's a slide in here that talks a lot about the major capital pressures for some large wastewater plants that are occurring starting in 27 that require that. And then you go through a retail rate, so there's no structural changes to water sewer. We have a few changes here for reclaim that adjusts some things on the residential side, adds in 2 tiers, changes consumption, and then ultimately indexes it moving forward. It also links your connection fees with the rate study. Bulk rates are also addressed, water and sewer and reclaim, and then other fees, as we mentioned, are reset using that reconciliation method. And I'll pause there for public comment if that's what you desire, ma'am.
Yep, is that good? Okay, let's have the public comment on this, and then we'll see if we can help answer any questions. Just go ahead and line up, whoever has questions on this.
Good afternoon. My name is Margaret Walker, and I live in Windtree subdivision. As you know, it was one of the first subdivisions in that part of Pasco County. We're right off East Lake Road. I'm very proud of it. Says "Welcome to Pasco," and there's Windtree, and it's beautiful. And our water, you know, we had major problems with it, and they've been resolved, and we're happy about that.
Are you on FGUA? You're on Aloha.
We were.
Can you give your specific address too?
1022 Middlesex Drive,
Thank you.
Newport Richey. And we're grateful that the water was resolved, but I think back in about 2010, we went to FGUA. I recently sent to Jack and several others copies of our invoices for water. During the dry season, most are seeing between $300 or $275 to $350 a month in water. During the rainy season. During the dry season, people are seeing bills close to $500 a month. So we're asking for some oversight in that, because since we made that change, we don't know what's happening. We don't know how long we're going to have to live with these rates. And we're proud of Windtree. It's really, if you haven't driven through it, it's very well maintained. The people there have been there for 20, 30 years. They love Pasco County. They take pride in it. But as people are aging, it's getting harder and harder for our homeowners to afford these rates. And so, again, we'd like to see some oversight on that. We're right now sitting wondering how long are we going to see these bills this high? And especially when we talk to other people who've been moved off what was Aloha, and when they hear our bills, they're like, oh, we're paying $100 a month even with watering our lawn. So we'd just like some attention to this if we could. Thank you.
I used to live near there. Actually, my good friend Gunther Flagg, he developed Windtree, and you are on Aloha, what was Aloha, now part of FGUA. And we have talked here about buying that system out. We're not there yet, but we're going to be talking about
Well, and that's what we've heard, that
And your
others have been
rates will
bought
lower.
out. And we'd like to be on that list and maybe possibly expedited since we're 15 years in. And I just want to make a comment. I have been living there since 1990. And when the water issue first started, I was pregnant with my second child, who's now almost 29. So we've been pretty patient all these years and grateful for what was done. But many of us are approaching retirement, and $500 a month is just way too excessive. We just need some help.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Leisha Spencer, and I live at 7421 Evesboro Lane in Trinity, in Windtree. Margaret and I are neighbors, and we built our home in 1992 there, and we've loved living there. We love Pasco County. It's been great for our family. We've raised our daughters, and now our daughters and grandchildren also live in Trinity. And I thought maybe it would be helpful. I know that Commissioner Mariano maybe has been able to share some of the invoices, but I did do a quick overview to give you an idea. I'm a family of two now, just my husband and I, and we live on a corner lot, but in a community, a neighborhood subdivision. And since the first of this year, just to give you an idea, in January of this year, our bill was $320.83. Then in February, it was $217.57, and then it went to $295.20, then $389.63. Then in April, it was $423.41, and then in May, it was $472.95. In June, we must have had a little rain because it was $275.46. And then in July, it was $303.93. So again, any attention you can give us to help with this matter would be so much appreciated. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Did anyone else want to speak to this? Didn't you raise your hand over there? No? No one else? Okay. Well, that's not anything you can, go ahead. You can try to address that.
Madam Chair, anyone, is no one online either?
There is no one online.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
So I've known Margaret Walker now for many, many years. Families, kids went to school together. So
Excuse me.
she called me up and we were talking about it. And from years ago when we first took it over, how bad the water was, it did get a lot better. When she told me her rates of like $500 a month, I go, that's absolutely absurd. And I told her that what the board had talked about looking at taking, and we've taken over Aqua, took over Lindrick. I thought this one should be next just because of the timing of, it was one of the first four to be taken over and looked at anyway. I know it's the most expensive, but I talked to Administrator Carbella about this, and he thinks a good approach, and Mike, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but to do kind of like what we did with Lindrick and Aqua, let's go take a look at the system, find out what it takes to, if we have repairs to make. They've got the money they had for the septic sewer program. Let's go take a look at what it takes to take the system over, then go put a legislative ask together along with some numbers and facts, and then go try to get funding for it like we did with the other two to keep the cost down and make it happen. So.
Well, actually, it wasn't legislator money, it was that other money we got.
Sprinkle?
No, it didn't come from the legislature, it came from the feds.
Came from the feds, okay.
What was
Pandemic
the money that
assistance,
we
yeah.
got?
It was the CARES Act.
CARES
if I
Act.
remember
That's what
correctly,
we
yeah.
used to buy Lindrick out. We did get a $3 million sprinkle from when House Speaker Sprowls was in, but we used that to sleeve the Gulf Harbors neighborhood to stop the water intrusion that was
Okay.
affecting the wastewater
Thank you,
treatment plant.
thank you, Eric. Commissioner, I'll correct
Yeah.
the record. It was actually ARPA, the American Rescue
ARPA,
Plan Act.
yeah.
I know CARES was right around that same time
Yeah,
frame, but
ARPA.
thank you.
Okay, well, we talked.
Mike wants to.
Okay, Mike, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I just want to add to the conversation. I've asked utilities to implement the study of both
Yeah.
systems,
Both.
similar to that. And so the idea behind those systems is to kick the tires, I guess, if you will, to see what works, what doesn't work, and to come up then with an implementation plan. I will tell you that when we originally reported this to the board, we started doing this back in, I don't know, 16, 17, we were talking about this. You know, the Aloha system was to be last because it was the largest, the most debt saddled, and had the largest customer base. I do think that, you know, whatever direction the board wants to give, it's important that we do these studies because otherwise it's the operational takeover is also a complicated maneuver. You have the Aloha systems, which are about 16,000 customers, versus the consolidated system sitting around 6,000 customers. I think Lindrick was around 3, and if I'm not mistaken, the Aquas were around
Small.
3 to 5.
Yeah.
So,
That's correct.
so much smaller. So there is a heavier lift there.
Yeah, but we have a lot more people.
Well, and I have had discussions too with utilities. We do have a seat on the FGOA board to be extremely cautious of how much debt these systems
Yes.
potentially will take on in the next couple of years. And so those conversations are being had. So what I would like to do is complete those studies, and then we could bring something back to the board for direction on to implement, because the next step will be then how to handle the financing. You've got about $80 million worth of debt still sitting on this particular system, the Aloha system. I don't know what consolidated is, Justin, you know, offhand.
I do, yeah. Consolidated is about 37+ million.
That's actually very high debt per customer. But regardless, we would need to seek that, and then we could seek legislative asks for individual projects if that's the case and that works. That's what we did with Lindrick. It was that particular one, but the overall buyout of the debt actually was using the ARPA funds. I do recall that now. So I'd like to bring that back to the board. Probably, I'll set a timeline of 6 months, and then we'll just see what utilities comes back with, and then we can set the priority. But then we will have to discuss implications to the existing rates.
Yeah, because everyone's rates in the county will go up when we take on the debt from that neighborhoods, from Aloha and Mad Hatter, I think it is.
Is Sea Forest in that study as well?
I believe Sea Forest falls we'd already be on our system.
So if you like, Mike, what I can do is I can go right past this
The 1 year
and let me go back. I think
service.
last meeting, we looked at the 2 service areas for the 2 systems, so maybe that'd be a good refresher
Yes.
to add to this discussion. Here's consolidated, and so the 2 large terms, right, consolidated, number of smaller areas, right, the most commonly known here for Mad Hatter, right, east and west, and you have a bunch of smaller systems within it that are put together, and then I'll let that digest for a moment, and I'll go to Pasco, so you can see the individual areas there as well. And so Pasco, a little bit smaller here, but you heard Mike
Is
mention
this Aloha? When
Yeah,
you
so
say
Aloha,
Pasco?
you see down there in that bottom left corner, right, as I'm standing, approaching it here, and then 7 Springs service area is that larger box on the screen, and then of course you have, the names of those areas above.
So is that in Newport Richey or no? The
The-
Aloha?
The Aloha system, I don't want to speak out of turn whether that's in or outside of city limits, right? That I believe, I'm hearing folks here in the room say outside, but we'd have to double check the map. I don't want to speak out of turn.
That looks like Southern Oaks and Riverside Village, and I know Riverside's in FGWA.
No, the one on the water, Aloha Gardens.
Oh, no, that's in Holiday,
Oh, Holiday, okay.
because there's Gulf Harbor's up at the top.
The one I'm talking about, it's by the car dealership,
Cross by you?
Cross by you.
There are some small privately owned ones that are not part of FGWA
People's
around the
bills are
county.
ridiculous
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah,
Yeah, so and I think we remarked on this a little bit last time. The key difference between the 2 systems, and certainly this board had outlined its intentions to walk through the FGUA acquisitions. There are 4 systems, 2 of which are done. The other 2 we've discussed here, is there's a predefined process for completing those acquisitions, which is basically take over the mortgage of the system, right? So it's the debt, Mike talked about it, how much leverage there is. So there is a whole definition outlined in a transition that you would do a transition agreement per the interlocal agreement between the county and the FGA that dictates how these things get taken over. What gets a little bit more complicated with some of those private systems is the biggest thing right on the very front end is how do you value it, right? And so you're going to have a private entity that believes a certain way and will certainly probably have studies done and will name its price. The county will probably have differing feelings, and you'll have to go through a heavy level of analysis to ultimately get to something that is agreed upon. Whereas the FGA stuff, that part of it's done. It's a known element. So that's just a key difference for the board to consider as they talk about those smaller utilities.
okay. But that's a separate subject from what we're dealing with today.
Well, Madam Chair?
Yeah.
The reason I wanted to bring it up is we're looking at rates all the way through 27, so I just wanted to make this part of something to think about, that if it does come back, we are looking at this and trying to do it.
We'll be doing it again.
Yeah, and Commissioner, you outlined it correctly, right? And so I'll reframe it. What we talked about 2 weeks ago was that, this measure here, and certainly the county attorney can provide clarity, 4-year rate structure. So what we're asking the board to take a look at as part of the measure that utilities is bringing forward today is to adopt the rate structure for 26 through 29. And so ultimately, that would dictate that right there in that top left corner of this slide, 375 and 475 for 27 through 29. Those actions you're mentioning about these FGO acquisitions, when those things are completed, the tire kicking, as Mike says, right, the further evaluation of those systems, and then ultimately they go through what ends up being a diligence process that's required through state statute that has to find those acquisitions in the public interest. The utility would need to come back to this board and find that it's in a public interest via public hearing, and at that time, the board would be able to, consider whatever offsetting financial measures would be required. So, Commissioner, to your point, right, that's where, they consider a revised capital plan and the amount of leverage that's on the system, and whatever that separate rate increase that the board would like to consider to take that on. That's separate from the measures that you're looking at today.
I do think, for me, that's where we need to end up, personally. I'd like to even keep going after the other ones, like that one I have, it's very small, that AmSkills is on, it's owned by that company out of Canada, but it's really polluted water that they're delivering. Did you want to say something else?
Yes, Justin, you're going to cover like part of the reason for these rates as far as what the state mandates are as far as water quality standards that's make us do higher treatment of water now?
Are you talking about the current rates that are being proposed in the utility, or are you talking about the rates that were being described for the FGA systems?
I'm just wondering for the regular system.
For the current system?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we certainly work closely with the utility now, and certainly, there's a lot, and I'll go back to this slide here. I know we didn't cover it today, but right here. So we talked through a lot of the key expansion projects and some of those added costs, right, that come in with, latest regulation and the additions of a number of different treatment requirements and things like that go into the design of these plans, whereas when you were looking at some of these things 4 years ago, inflation notwithstanding, right, you have additional regulatory requirements that are placed on the design of some of these things that have inflated that. The slide you're seeing here is over $400 million, right, just between two plants.
And Madam Chair, that was why a lot of this big rate increases here, because not only just the expansion of the system of one of them, but the improvement of the water quality that the state's making us do, which I'm not opposed to doing. It's going to make the water quality better, but that's what's driving it. So if you wonder why the rates are going up 375, 475, it's not for what we're doing, just running the system. It's just mandates being put on us.
Exactly.
And this slide is your wastewater treatment plant. So it's, while you're delivering potable water, it has to go someplace.
Yeah.
System only has so much capacity. What's it, 80-ish% that the DEP makes you do bumps up you have to do an expansion of your plant.
Usually it's at
before
75. You've got to be at 2/3. You're already building or enacted.
Could you put one more slide up that shows our rates once raised compared with our communities around us?
Sure.
Please.
This slide has a little timing in it, so give it 1 second. Here we go. And very next one. Okay, so this is the current bill comparison, right? And so when we look at this here, this is 2025. And so you can see there where on the left, where the current average water and sewer bill at 6,000 gallons resides. I like to say the top of the bottom third, right? They're at $88.65, so less than $89 currently. And then that right slide, I know it's a little hard to see, for those in the room here, but the orange bar highlights Pasco County there in the middle, and it looks at other communities right in the region that have multi-year rate plans that are highlighted here. So you see Pasco County with a 375 and 475, and then you see Hillsborough County, large neighbor directly to the south, that's got a multi-year plan at 5%. Tampa has some higher rates there at the bottom of the graph. St. Pete, looking at 6.25 and 7s across the board. And so what's interesting, and I'd like to highlight some of the commentary from this board right 2 weeks ago, it kind of speaks to the affordability slide that was back on this slide right before this that had the timing in it. And so let me go back right here. And so the delta here is Pasco County typically or historically has taken an approach that has been kind of a steady Eddie approach that has had nominal rate increases consistently over time that avoid some of those rate shocks that you see in some other communities where they may choose to delay rate increases and things like that ultimately, right, some of those costs, right, and Commissioner Mariano, you referenced it, the inflation, the additional regulatory costs, they come to roost at some point, right? They have to be paid for. And so right now, Pasco County, as compared to water and sewer CPI for the nation, right, represents almost a 30% delta over the past 10 years on how they've chosen to do the rate increases.
Let me throw an idea out there, just came to me, and we can take it up or throw it out. But if we want to prepare ourselves to start buying those other water utilities from FGUA, do we want to put a little bit in here so we start building our match that we would ask from the we're going to have to match whatever we ask from the legislature. We're going to have to say we have some. So does it make sense to just increase this just a tiny bit and start building a kitty to prepare ourselves to buy this? Because this does not contemplate that, right?
No, ma'am. This is, like I said, they're separate measures.
It might be fiscally responsible to start preparing ourselves for that.
I mean, I think I would do that as a separate action. I think these are the advertised rates.
Yes, sir.
Right?
They're
so
published 4-year rate study. Yes, sir.
We should have done that last time.
But that can be addressed as we learn more about the systems, and then we can actually see what the true cost is going to be, and that you can build that in potentially if you have to make rate adjustments to acquire a system.
Well, we know we're going to have to make rate adjustments. You did it. You've been through it.
Yes, ma'am. Twice before.
We're going to have rate adjustments.
Yeah.
But we could soften the blow. That's what I'm saying.
Certainly. And I think Mike speaks to it well, right? Having gone through those first two acquisitions, the kicking the tires approach, right? Ultimately, it's a condition assessment, engineering assessment of all the assets within the system, how they're functioning, really letting utility staff and their representatives get in there and really take a look at how things are working, because the prescribed CIP plan on how FGUA may be handling and running the system likely doesn't exactly align with the way that the county would like to do it, right? And I speak from that from a historical basis on the revisions that this county took to do the first two systems, made significant investments into those things, and the capital plan and the way they were going to operate it was significantly different than FGUA did. Now, a lot of that is interties and things like that that would connect it to the larger system. So that is the part that is not currently completely vetted out. That sounds like the county administrator's already provided direction for county staff to begin that process.
Okay, I'm going to throw something else out there, and I know it's like the catch-all, but our CDBG-DR money, I don't know if in any of these areas it was affected by the hurricanes, and there's things that need to get fixed in those areas. You know, we're partnering with FGUA in Riverside Village with Representative Yeager and getting 50 homes off of septic. I'm wondering if there's an opportunity within any of these systems to help fix them or do something with that debt, you know, just using that, any of that money to help us when we come down the road to buy it.
I'm not entirely sure if acquisitions are part of it. I'm certain that there's probably mitigation dollars that projects could qualify for, to whether that's hardening or things that could make the system better. We would have to research that.
Yeah, I think it's worth it to take a look and see if there's anything we can do to chip off some of the cost of it with some of that money.
You know, I don't know the grant off the top of my head, but I do know, and Commissioner Aaron, I believe you referenced it previously, is that there was some cooperation in Lindrick, right, where you got some, you know, state funding where there was kind of that cooperative capital program.
Oh, it's FGUA.
That could be something, I believe it was procured under FGUA. I know the county was involved in some of those things, some of those cooperative efforts for offsetting CIP, you know, costs that the FGUA system would otherwise incur could be accreted to the county in the long run when they go to acquire it.
Well, we paid some bills and it freed up some other money. I just know that when, and for the residents that have that water, when we came in and took over Lindrick, and typically FGUA is just putting Band-Aids on issues. They're not fixing it. They're doing, you know.
Well, they're subject to heavy rate pressure.
Yeah, because they don't want to raise your rates yet anymore, because you already have probably some of the highest in the state. So they don't go in and like really fix it. So when the county came in and took it over and fixed it, oh my gosh, the water, you know, it was, everything got so much better rather than just fixing one little thing. They were tearing up my roads all the time. So if we can just be creative, that's all I'm asking. Okay, I'll take a motion. If there's no more discussion.
Move approval. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. P49.
All right, P49 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, July 30th, 2025.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Kevin Pliska, Solid Waste Director. Today, I am here to present resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County establishing annual disposal assessments. Tipping fees and others, rates, fees, and charges for the funding of the solid waste disposal and resource recovery system. Sorry. Okay, thank you. Yeah. All right, a little bit of background. This is year 7 of a planned 7-year disposal assessment increase. This area has seen significant increases in growth. With that growth comes increased solid waste generation. From that, a plan was established years ago to expand the existing waste-to-energy facility. That's a $250 million project that is underway today. In addition to funding the waste-to-energy expansion, this increase is meant to offset higher operating costs with the waste-to-energy facility. Operating costs comes in two forms, right? Actual operating costs, and then also lacking revenue that we had back in 2024 from Duke Energy. We had a significant decrease in energy revenues with a new power purchase agreement. So this funding helps offset that as well. This 7-year plan was meant to prevent big shock to the customers, phasing this in rather than one big chunk. And we've seen some pretty big shock in the community. Some of our communities to the south of us have had some pretty big increases over the recent years. And some of those communities have also had to put significant capital into their waste-to-energy plants, hundreds of millions of dollars. Our money is going towards expanding the plant, not necessarily repairing it. So this year, the $7 assessment increase per equivalent ERU, that equates to $6.39 tipping fee increase year over year. The annual residential assessment per ERU with this year will be $114, which translates to $104.03 per ton. This would become effective on October 1st if the board approves it. And as you will see on the next slide, our annual costs still fall well within the low range of waste-to-energy municipalities. You see where we are on the bottom. This does include hauling. It includes hauling and disposal, but we are at $381.90, the proposed rate for this upcoming year, compared to what you see the other waste-to-energy communities in Florida. The average of this is $491.59. So we have a very good, robust system, and we're still at the low end of the price point. So the recommendation is to adopt the resolution establishing the proposed annual adjustments for the disposal assessments, tipping fees, and other rates, fees, and charges that fund the solid waste disposal and resource recovery system. Authorize the chairman to execute the two original resolutions, direct board records to distribute, set forth in the distribution section, and authorize the county administrator or designee to sign the final roll certification. Authorize staff to release the final roll and related information to the property appraiser and tax collector. Any questions for me?
Board members, any questions? Okay, I think we have some people who want to speak to this.
Yeah, so Mr. David Tuttle, if you want to come to the podium and just give your name and address once you're up at the microphone. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is David Tuttle. My family and I own the Golden Corral in Zephyr Hills. How you doing, Tom? Ron. I received my solid waste assessment tax bill. Needless to say, it was a shock. After all the years and been in Zephyr Hills Golden Corral since 2003, I used to pay about $7,800 every year for the solid waste tax, plus you pay for your garbage, of course. So I wasn't even sure where that extra $7,800 was really even going. It was never explained, never made much sense to me. It was just an aggravating check to write once a year, along with all the other taxes. This year, my taxed amount proposed assessment, of course it was $7,800. $13,658.05 is this year's solid waste tax.
And what was it last year?
Last year was pretty close to the same, even though I sent in all the paperwork and to dispute it and everything. I virtually got no response at all. The year before it was high like that, not quite that high. and they ended up fixing it and getting it back down to about $8,000. They're trying to say that because I have 3 8-yard dumpsters, that if one dumpster is half full and the other dumpster is half full, that's still 2 8-yard dumpsters they're emptying. Whereas I believe in the past, probably the reason I was paying the $7,800 a year is because they did calculate it out. But in the busy season, of course, I'm gonna fill them dumpsters up. This time of the year, dumpsters don't get filled up and they still empty twice a week and charge me for full dumpsters. And that's where I'm coming up with the $14,000 a year tax. And I hate to raise my prices, and Ron might not show up as often. And
Oh, I'll show.
but I guess that's my concern. I just don't understand. That would be like if you ate at lunch in my restaurant and tomorrow you go there and the price is 2.5 times the price, you're probably going to turn around and walk out. Unfortunately, I can't just throw this away and walk out. I'm going to get stuck paying for this no matter what. So prices are just getting passed along. It just doesn't make sense to me. I guess that's why I'm here today.
So I don't know if Branford's here or Mike. You've heard me gripe about this for a long time. This is why I understand the money in disposal is bonded. But scenarios like this happen every year, and we've been contacted every year when disposal is not baked in to the rate that the hauler is charging. So the customer pays the hauler, and if he doesn't pay his bill, then the county tells the hauler he can't be picked up, which then stops his business from operating altogether. We need to change the way that we do disposal for commercial customers in this county.
And ag.
And it's not fair. You have customers who think they're paying their rate, to their hauler every month. And at the end of the year, when the hauler's audited and submits their information, the frequency and whatnot to the county, and the county comes up with their rate, which gives the ability, there's an appeal process. The whole process is incredibly clunky. And I question the accuracy of, there's just too many moving parts in it. We really need to change the process and have the disposal pay the time of service every month. And I don't know how we unwind that, Branford. I know Branford and I have talked about it, but we're starting to see when you have bills like this, and there's others, getting so large, and it's a sticker shock because you don't know, the businesses don't know what they're going to pay. There's no way to budget until the county sends the notice about this time every year. And it's just, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying when you're a business, you want to forecast a $15,000 solid waste assessment. And some business, well, I paid my solid waste bill. No, you paid your hauler to provide the service. Yeah, you got to pay the piper, which is the county. So I think we need to move forward and figuring out how to undo what's been done. There's a lot of legal in there, but it's not the best way to do business, and I just confused.
Because also, according to the letter, if I don't pay this, there goes my business license, which is right in the letter. So
I mean,
it's almost like a threat on top of, you've been there all these years providing service and employing 90 people and doing everything right, and then this shows up with a threat to pay it or lose your license and you're out of business. So obviously I'm gonna pay it. As aggravating it as is gonna be to write that check for double the amount that I don't understand.
If we could redo it, it would be better for businesses to know up front, approximately what it's going to be, not at the end of the year, and it's a surprise. And I don't like it. I never have. See people who've worked through this process for a long time, but I think we need to really take a look at it and figure out how to do it a different way.
Commissioner Oakley?
Yeah, I was just wondering, your last 3 bills were, did you say 13,000 or?
Yes.
Okay.
Last year I appealed it with no luck at all. The year before I appealed it and they fixed it.
Right.
And this year I haven't appealed it
Between
yet.
last year and this year, it's what, $500 or $1,000 difference?
Yeah, about $1,000. Mm-hmm.
between the two. So it's gone up, but it hadn't doubled this year, but I understand how can they, drop it and be $8,000 and the next year you're back up for 13,000. So
Right, because
it's hard to budget
basically
that.
I was told they assessed it with not full dumpsters during the slow season. That's how it was told to me when it was taken care of.
Well,
So
I think,
so
I
you
think
do-
there's a way staff, and I'm sure Mike will go through it with people, that staff can relook at that, especially in the off-season, you've got empty dumpsters, but you can hardly get in this place starting this time of year.
Right.
So, he's
We're
back.
gonna do this again, is this our first time talking about this?
No, this one's one and done.
Oh, because-
This is setting the assessment. I agree that the commercial assessment
Yeah.
approach is,
It's not working.
we need to find a way to make that transparent and predictable. I understand, I've seen it, I couldn't explain it to you myself here right now. And so
So you're saying hold off, don't pay it until you fix it?
No, you
ain't gonna
pay
tell you
it. But I do agree with the commission's points, Commissioner Oakley, Commissioner Waitman, that we need to take a look at it. And as Commissioner Waitman points out, there are legal ramifications. There's a whole host of things. It's something that we need to look at, and we'll see what can be unwound. But I'll talk with Mr. Adumois and Mr. Pliska, and we'll
All right.
bring something and have a discussion with Jeff's team. And
Because
see
we
what can be done.
experienced this. I'm texting here with my husband. I think he
Yeah.
would love to be.
Y'all would get hit too?
Oh my gosh.
There's no
So
way.
we had the blueberry farm and we have the market. And the blueberry farm, we had a dumpster and it's very seasonal.
Yeah.
Very, very seasonal. And it was crazy. It was, I don't know, 20,000, 25,000 a year.
Really?
And my husband, they quit doing it up there, and we just take our garbage up to the market. But our market now it's $1,100 a month in fees and $12,000 a year in assessments. It's $25,000. But what was happening at the farm was really crazy. So however you can make sure that we're doing it right.
Yes.
It's just,
Yeah.
Thank you.
If it's, you have 2 8-yarders going 3 times a week or whatever, and your bill is $1,400 a month per se, but you're done that month. You know how to factor in your cost for what it is versus whatever the commercial rates are now. It's just, it's better predictability for the business owner. They can budget appropriately. And then all of a sudden, and there's been issues like Hilton Hotels and whatever larger corporations that get hit with their disposal fees. And if they don't pay it right away, by law, their business is shut down until that fee that's paid. And then you're trying to reach out to the corporations or saying, well, this is odd. This is not something that's done. This is not a standard practice throughout the solid waste industry. The way Pasco County bills disposal, it's not a, it's
So it
out of
should
the
be
ordinary.
amortized
It's out of the
monthly?
ordinary. Yeah, the disposal is typically factored in with your monthly rate, the haul rate. So you're paying more upfront, but your disposal is factored in for that service.
Okay.
And you're paying it real time. Where
Okay.
Pasco bills the disposal piece at the end of the year, and then folks receive sticker shock. It's a lot of time on staff. It's a lot of stress on our customers trying to go through the appeals process, and staff is going through records, and then they're touching base with the haulers to make sure all the information was spent. It's just a lot of moving parts on a lot of people. And the crux of this is however long ago the county bonded the disposal fees for whatever reason, for whatever projects. And that might have been okay when we were a smaller county, right? Not as much enterprise and business going on. But our county's changed a lot in recent years. And it's just better to give folks the predictability of what they're paying every month, so.
Madam Chairman.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm not sure that I disagree with you, but I think part of this scenario that is different about Pasco is that the hall, we don't have a franchise hauler system.
Yeah.
And you
I
have,
tried.
and you have the special assessments, which are designed to pay for the waste energy facility. And so to integrate those with the haulers is kind of what's causing the problem. But that's, there, I don't disagree that there probably is a fix, but that's.
I'm confident there's a fix, and I've pitched it
The
many
bonding, the bonds are paid by the special assessments for the waste to energy facility.
I wonder if there's a way they could add partial payment to the monthly bill instead of the end of the year sticker shock, you know, like add $500 a month on my trash bill, and then at the end of the year can reassess, and maybe I only owe $1,000 instead of $14,000.
Okay, I think that we're not gonna solve that here.
Yep.
But it sounds like, we can work on some, solutions.
Much appreciated.
Mr.
Thank you
Tuttle,
very much.
Before you leave, can you give your address for the
I
record?
can. It's 5209
Okay.
Tuscawilla, Tuscawilla Drive, Weeki Wachee,
All right, thank you.
34607.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
Was there anyone else here to speak to this one?
No one else has signed up.
So they're
You got a
kind of
couple
over
of
there,
hands.
over
Okay.
here, okay.
All right. As you approach, if you'll give your name and address for the record.
Ed Grinvald's 12882 Palapa Loop, Spring Hill.
Palapa what?
Palapa.
Okay, thank you.
All right. My issue isn't to the amount of dollars that this gentleman had, but it speaks to, you know, I'm a resident. I moved to Pasco County 4 years ago, and I received these letters from the Solid Waste and Resource Recovery Assessment Department every year. I keep them. And so I was looking them over. And what I noticed is when I first moved in, it was $83 a year, not 14,000 or 8,000, but it was $83 a year as the assessment. And then today, we're considering $114. Then I looked back at the pattern, and I noticed it was $86, and it was 93, and 100, 107, and 114. So that's $7. $7, $7, $7, $7. So $7 on the original amount of 86 comes out to an 8.1% increase, and some change. This year, it comes out to about 6.5%, I believe. So I guess that's my first question. 6.5% to an 8.1, you know, that's a large percentage increase every year. It's too much. I'm a retired person, but I spent most of my career in management, and my supervisor or my manager always asked me every year to give better service, higher quality service, increase customer satisfaction, and lower my operating budget. All three. They can be done. And I achieved it most years through innovation, technology, and so forth. And that kind of is what happens in the private sector. I really don't see that happening in the public sector so much. It just seems like we need to do more, we need to increase taxes. And I'm just asking, you know, this department and across Pasco County departments to just consider operating in that way. Use your brains, use your minds, innovate, use technology, and lower costs and increase quality of service. It can be done. It is done. Okay, so I'd like to understand why such a large percentage increases have been happening.
I will take a stab at that. We are on the final year and I'll need Kevin to correct me if I'm wrong, of a multi-year assessment that is paying for a whole new expansion of our treatment plant. Because are we hauling our trash out of the county right now?
1/3 of our trash goes out of county.
Yeah, so we're paying to send our trash to other Sumter, I think, maybe, or Lake County, because our waste to energy plant is full. So we have been slowly increasing the fees instead of doing one big jump to pay for new construction to expand our facility. Did I answer that right?
This is the last year, or?
It's a 7%.
Kevin, you have to come to the mic.
You have to come to the mic.
Yeah, so this is the last year of the increase, yeah.
Yes, 7 for 7, primarily to fund the waste to energy expansion and associated operating costs with that expansion.
Okay.
I can certainly
Yeah.
go through more details with you.
So I guess my follow-up question then would be, once this is done, and once this, with $250 million expansion, I think is what you mentioned before, once it's done, are my rates gonna go down?
There is no anticipation of the rates going down. Our plan is, like you said.
Why do it?
Well, it's, the waste to energy expansion is, I'll just say, beyond just a low-cost option. It has to do with the strategy of the community that was established many years ago. So we continue to move forward with waste to energy as the primary disposal option, minimizing our natural resource footprint, all right? So the plant that has been in operation for 34 years has been very successful, and the board has decided years ago to move forward with an expansion. So we're not relying on outside communities.
No, I don't think that's his question. So if we've raised the rates to pay for a capital project, once we paid for the capital project, why would we still have that built into our rates? I think that's the question.
Yeah, and why wouldn't 114 be 112 next year?
I'll take a stab at that if I could, ma'am.
It's a good
again,
question.
the capital was part of it, but we're also doing debt financing as well. There will be debt service to pay for that. In addition, Mr. Pliska mentioned it, the more lucrative waste to energy contract that we have enjoyed, which has actually helped Pasco keep its rates low for many, many years with Duke Energy, expired. And so as such, we're subject to now market rate prices on selling our power, which we continue to do that. The solid waste department continues to innovate. They continue to look for innovative ways to reduce our landfill footprint, which ultimately will save the solid waste program millions of dollars in new cell construction. So I think they continue to do everything in their power to control that. As far as future rates, Mr. Pliska and I are having conversations on what does that look like in the future in an attempt to, again, try to keep those costs as low as possible. They're at the end of the line. The garbage has to go somewhere, and where the government is left to handle it. So I will say this, that the capital portion, while that may be complete, there's still additional costs and revenues that simply are not recoverable through other means.
Okay, so the Duke Energy contract is up. I would expect that you would get actually a better contract.
We do not. I don't.
I mean, energy,
if
if you're investing now in the market, you're investing in energy and electrical power because we know what's going on with AI. So you'd expect to be able to charge more for energy. Just saying.
I'd be glad to go over the new contract on the energy side and explain the difference. Okay. It is significant. It's a $20 million headwind year over year on the old energy contract and what we have today. And I certainly can get into the details with you if you'd like.
And the other thing is,
Yeah.
I think I've made my point.
Yeah, and your time's up.
About what the expectation is that rates actually should be going down across all of government with, using technology and innovation.
Thank you. I'm sorry, sir.
Second point is.
Sir?
Sir, you're out of time.
Yeah, even after you were out before I even asked the
Yeah, I
question.
know, but.
No, I'm sorry.
This other gentleman had way more time.
Someone else may bring up your point, because we have some other people that want to speak, so. And you're welcome to give me a call. I think we're gonna, no clapping from here, thank you.
Yeah.
We're gonna work on this a little bit still, sounds like. Okay, did you want to speak over there? No, you can't speak from there. All right, this lady right here, these two ladies. Are you coming up together or separately?
Yeah, she's I don't see well and I don't hear well, so she's just kind of
Okay, wonderful.
keeping up, okay?
We need your name and address, please.
My name's Terry Painter, and I'm the mother of Samuel Wright and Ricky Firestone, and the address is 35030 Chancey Road, Cypress Hills, Florida, 33541. Anyhow, my son wants off the mortgage. We're trying to buy him out, which we don't have to pay for the house. We just have to have the extra money. Well, Milton took out $50,000 worth of damage, not to the house, to the property, 6.5 acres. Anyhow, we've been trying to take care of that. Anyhow, then we get, we keep getting these forms, and anyhow, when we first moved here, my daughter worked for the trash place in Dade City, and they were taking the trash out of her paycheck. Well, I didn't want her to do that because she had a young child that she had to raise, so I put it in my name. Well, that started it. Now we get, we tried to get a loan the other day, and it was $17,000 just on the main address, and then we have a secondary house, which is part of the same parcel. They have $13,000. We never knew until they told us that we're paying double assessments on the waste thing. So anyhow, I don't think that's very fair. And anyhow, we don't want to lose our house after 25 years.
You're paying $17,000 a year?
Pardon me?
Is that what you know what? Maybe someone needs to meet with you, that's here. Okay, John over here will step outside and go over that with you and make sure that everything's going right at your properties.
Okay.
Will that work for you, John? Yeah, he's happy to help you. Thank you for coming today. Okay, is there anyone else that wishes to speak to this? Okay, is there anyone else after her? After that, we're gonna, if they don't raise their hand now, we're gonna cut off public comment. Do we have anyone online?
No, ma'am.
Okay, last speaker then.
Hi, my name is Krista McDonald. I live at 18325 Greensboro Street in Leisure Hills. I've been there 16 years. I've been a resident of Pasco County for 41 years. I've raised 4 children here. I work here. I work in the school system. Like everybody else, I got my tax bill as well with this proposed stormwater and waste management, which I fully oppose. My trash bill goes up every few months. So it started off at $40 and now I'm up to $90. And now this is gonna get tacked on, which automatically, we've been seeing these increases, but it goes above the 3% max that is supposed to be. So I was just wondering why certain places like where we live, where most people have 4-yard dumpsters, 2-yard dumpsters, pay their bills, it's going to jack it up to $109. Where as a single mom, I scrape it together where I can. So things like this, it's not, I don't own a Golden Corral or anything like that, but it hurts. It hurts a lot of people, not just me, but in the entire community. So if there's a way around it, make the haulers pay for it, stop building, there's gotta be other ways to fix this cost that you're trying to tack on to, well, not y'all, but onto the proposed taxes. That's all.
Thank you.
Maybe have John look at her
Yeah,
bill.
will you also meet with John out there and show him your bill? How much?
She's got a trim notice versus.
Okay, but how much should an average, how much does an average bill at a home cost? I have no idea.
I mean, the average, Justin, I'm sorry,
Yeah, the average, I'm sorry. The average, if you have collection, is $381 a year, the average, with collection.
So why is that one woman saying 16,000?
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope they fix that.
Yeah, John's speaking with
If
them.
their parcels are in, here's what gets, if your property happens to be in some sort of a business name and not a resident, the switch is where people get hung up is they'll get a commercial container and they'll put it in a business name, and the commercial rate is different than if it's a residential dumpster. They're two completely different categories, and if you're in that commercial rate and your dumpster could be a residential dumpster, you have a business or a real estate, you just throw everything in there not thinking. In our county, if you have a dumpster and it's in a commercial business name, your disposal is very different than what you are if it's a residential. And Kevin, you should probably go into it more than me,
Well,
but it's significant.
You're accurate. There's three
Yeah.
forms for commercial. It could be based on volume, which I believe the gentleman mentioned from the Golden Corral, how many times he's being picked up versus, in addition to the size of the container. Secondly, it can be on weight. There are commercial customers with compactors, and it's being weighed. That is very accurate. And then lastly, what Commissioner, Waitman is mentioning is if you're a category of business, it depends on your business, the category you're in, then the square footage of your dwelling. Those things come into play, and there's a formula that's factored in, and it predetermines what your rate is going to be. That is very complicated.
Boy, if there was a way we could educate people who maybe are not paying their disposals correctly and could have a big savings, I wish there was a way we could figure that out.
Yeah, there is a lot of interaction with the assessment team and commercial owners to talk about, hey, if you are doing it this way, but if we take the hauler data and we know the frequency and the size of the container, at least you could better triangulate on what it may be. That is not perfect, as Commissioner Waitman
I want to
mentioned.
ask you a question. Do you mind coming back up here? This is just investigation. Do you just have the regular garbage can you wheel out on Monday and Thursday?
No, it's a 4-yard dumpster. I'm
Oh.
in a rural area considered agricultural. It's 1.16 acres of land. Typically, every other house.
Why don't you switch and get a garbage can and pay $300 a year?
They only allow you 6, and there's a massive dog, coyote, raccoon problem, so the dumpster helps.
But
keeping
you'll save a lot of
that-
money. Just
True.
tie it down. We use rope, we tie ours down for the
Where
dogs and coyotes.
Again, in Leisure Hills, if you're not familiar, trash cans are really not the best option.
Well,
unfortunately, but so I'm paying $1,000 a year for that on top of now I'm going to be paying more.
I'm just trying to give you a $300 option.
I understand.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
still, disposal on yeah.
All right, thank you, everybody. Okay, well, it sounds like there's room where we can, I want to figure out this assessment thing at the end of the year, that we can amortize that over the year. Jack, did you want to speak to something?
I was just going to make a comment back to the energy plant. I mean, years ago, when energy capacity was critical, it was a big incentive for the energy companies to go build capacity. So the reason the contract was so favorable was they got credits for building that energy plant, and that's how the money went. When that went away, our contract ran out as well, and then we had to renegotiate, and all we get's market rate now.
Well, it's based on an offset to the next lowest form of power, which is still a coal-fired power plant. And so no one's building those anymore. And so your standard offer rate is significantly lower because of that. And anyway, it's a complicated formula. Fortunately, the solid waste team has diversified their approach. We do broker some of our power. We do have some of our power under contract. And so we're looking for ways to maximize the return on that.
And I'll say something we did with our human waste that we have. We changed the way we used to truck it to Miami, wherever. We're paying a lot of money for it. The money was going up every year. We had the fear of what was going to happen if those landfills went away, and now you don't have to do it, how much more it's going to cost you. And we brought in a company called Merrill Brothers, who's been doing a phenomenal job, and is now actually putting stuff to market. So that actually stabilized with innovation our rates, and we'll keep them stable, and we might even see them go down with the income we're going to make off the product they're going to put out there. So I think we've been innovative, but sometimes you can't control what government forces, market forces are out there.
Just because I was on the losing side of this, I'm gonna bring it up again, that most counties franchise their garbage pickup, and so most counties, they save money that way. We looked at a plan where we would divide the county into different sections so that no hauler would lose market share. And it didn't fly with the board, but if anyone wanted to look at franchising again, that is a way to help our residents save on their garbage pickup.
Those are two very different. Commercial service, that has nothing to do with how commercial service is built. A residential franchise and the way disposal is collected in between residential and commercial are two totally different aspects of the business. So when the county attorney mentions the franchise, theoretically you can franchise residential, but you can keep open market commercial and have competition in the market and still bill the disposal the way that I think it should be done versus how it's done in Pasco County and it not have an impact on the residential piece. Our issue is, yeah, we've bonded, and however it was done so long ago, we've kind of handcuffed ourselves until time or whatever. I forgot all the details. It's been a year or more. But there's a way to do commercial service and commercial disposal separate from the residential
All right.
way of
Well,
doing business.
we just want to get our best rate for our citizens. Do we require a vote?
Yes.
Yes, for the assessment.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, P50.
Now, do you want to read the procedure?
Yes.
Now I'll read the procedures.
I just
There-
on the script.
There are two rezoning agendas, regular and consent. Staff will present each application to the Board of County Commissioners. If staff or planning commission has recommended approval and there's no opposition, the application will be considered by the board without further presentation. If staff or planning commission has recommended denial, or if there is opposition to the application, the applicant will be given 5 minutes for presentation. The opposition will be given 3 minutes for each individual or 5 minutes for a group representative, and the applicant will be given 3 minutes for rebuttal. Any individual disagreeing with staff or planning commission recommendation or anyone wishing to object to any condition of the rezoning may at this time request that the petition be pulled from the consent agenda, in which case that application will be heard under the regular agenda later on during the meeting. Otherwise, all rezoning applications on the consent agenda will be approved by a single motion vote. If you wish to speak to any petition, please give your name and address and whether or not you've been sworn for the record. These are quasi-judicial public hearings. The law in Florida is that mere public support or opposition of an application is insufficient for this board to take action. Please limit your comments to those criteria found within the board's land development code. Madam Clerk, would you like to swear the public in, please?
Yes, sir. If anyone is planning on speaking to one of the following items, P50 through 52, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God? Thank you. All right, so would you want to do P50 first?
Yep.
P50 was advertised in Tampa Bay Times, June 25th, 2025.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nectario Spitos, Planning Development Economic Growth. Item P50 is PDE 257666. This is a zoning amendment to the name of Murphy Road MPUD by Oakley Pasco County Property Trust et al., which is a rezoning from RMH Mobile Home District and AR Agricultural Residential District to MPUD Master Plan Unit Development. This is being requested for a continuance to the October 7, 2025 Board of County Commissioners meeting in Dade City at 1:30 p.m.
Move to continue time certain.
Second.
This is a public hearing.
No.
Do we need to,
It's-
it was advertised?
It was advertised.
Okay. Do I need to see if they want to speak here instead of in the
No,
future?
it was
Okay.
advertised as a continuance.
All right,
We don't-
all in favor?
Aye.
P50,
P51 was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, July 23rd, 2025, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Item P51 is PDE 257864. This is a zoning amendment in the name of Grove at Wesley Chapel MPUD Master Plan Unit Development by Misher M. Huntsville LLC et al. It's a rezoning request from an MPUD Master Plan Unit Development to an MPUD Master Plan Unit Development to amend the conditions of approval, allowing for the development of 275 multifamily units and associated infrastructure on approximately 165.16 acres. This comes with a recommendation to approve the MPUD rezoning subject to the attached rezoning conditions of approval.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
I want to pull it.
What?
I want to pull it.
Okay. P52.
Okay, P52 is advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, July 23rd, 2025, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Item P52 is PD 257873. This is a zoning amendment in the name of 1 Lucucci Center. It's a change in zoning from AC Agricultural District, R3 Medium Density Residential District, R4 High Density Residential District, and MF1 Multiple Family Medium District to I-1 Light Industrial Park District in East Pasco County on the north side of Comer Road, south of State Road 575, east of Pine Products Road, and west of Bauer Road, containing approximately 7.93 acres. This comes with a recommendation to adopt the zoning amendment.
Okay. Do we want to keep this one on the consent? Is this on consent?
on this, Terry?
Yes.
Yes.
See if there's anybody in opposition.
All right, no one here has any issues on this one besides that? Anyone here speaking against this item? This is P52. Is there anyone online? Do you have anyone online?
No, ma'am.
Okay, seeing no one, we'll keep that on consent.
Approve the consent agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're on to P51.
Good afternoon, William Vermillion, Planning Development Economic Growth. Before I get started today, I do have 2 ex partes for the record.
Move to receive, I guess.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Madam Chair, I did meet with the applicant as well.
Yep, I did too. I don't know who's on the ex parte. Okay, and proceed.
Got a new clicker, gonna have to figure out how this one works. This is a zoning amendment, the Grove at Wesley Chapel MPUD. This is a substantial amendment to the existing master planned unit development. Here's the location map in the South Market District, just on the west side of I-75. This substantial amendment to the MPUD is to allow for an increase in the multifamily residential entitlements from 300 to 575, an increase of 275 residential dwelling units in what we're calling Phase 2 of the Wesley Chapel Grove MPUD, just on the west side of I-75, 650 feet north of Wesley Chapel Boulevard. Here is the location map of the entire existing MPUD outlined in red. The current zoning map reflecting master planned unit development and the future land use of mixed use. Here's the context map showing the fire station, the MPUD master plan showing parcels 1 and parcels 2, and the more illustrative binding plan here showing the exact building orientation and design of Phase 2 of these 275 additional apartments. PDE worked with the applicant on the building orientation here to front the buildings along the roads as well as the on-street parking, creating linear park space and a central park amenity directly across the street from the existing movie theater and tying into the existing pedestrian connections within the MPUD to facilitate movement from this development, the existing apartments that you can see a little bit on the right side of the screen here, to the existing businesses within the MPUD as well as down to Crate. There were additional conditions of approval added after planning commission for this one. One of them being some pedestrian safety improvements that were being added by the applicant, which are stop signs and safe pedestrian crosswalks located more toward the crate to help facilitate pedestrian safety, as more people will be circulating throughout the MPUD with the additional residential dwelling units. And the other was the provision of the WeWork space that will be the office space that's going to be located within this MPUD. That square footage is now in these conditions of approval. That comes with a recommendation of approval with conditions from both the Planning Commission, Planning Development, Economic Growth Department. I'm here for any questions.
I have a question. Go ahead, Commissioner Mariano.
Thank you. So it is a substantial modification going from 300 to 575. They're taking townhomes out of the project. I mean, we've got so much traffic in this area all the way through. And this is a hard area to get to in and out. Doesn't have direct access to 75, which I don't know anyone that does. I don't know why this actually put in there, but I don't understand how, with all the traffic we have, all the developments coming in there, that we would want to consider this until at least we did the timing and phasing with analysis of what developments are coming in with the new apartments already being built and approved, especially when we're trying to spend money on getting Old Pasco Road finished. It's going to take a long time to throw all this extra traffic in the area. I mean, it's a mess out there.
Absolutely, and I believe the applicant has Steve Henry here who can talk about his complete study analysis and whether or not that's inclusive of the multifamily units that you just mentioned.
Let me ask you though. It says feasibility analysis, timing and phasing, and or substantial road analysis is found to be exempt. How does that happen?
Sure, the substandard road analysis was found to be exempt because all of the roads in the area are up to county standards or are collector and arterial roads. The timing and phasing was not exempt. They did study the additional 275 multifamily dwelling units as a part of this proposal.
Did they base that upon just a 2% area of growth, or did they factor in all the developments that are coming in that are usually factored in?
Sure, I don't have the study right in front of me, and Steve can speak to that. I know that 2% is the baseline required by the code, but Steve can speak to some of the historical trends that he may or may not have used in his timing and phasing.
Do you know how many apartments are coming online in the next year out there?
In this direct vicinity, I couldn't off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Oakley.
how many total apartments are there going to be?
Total with this addition would be 575. There's 300 that are existing. This would be the increase of 275.
Oh, so it's 200 or something like that.
Yeah, you're not adding 500
You're not adding
more
500,
apartments.
that's what I was.
No, sir, just 275.
It was confusing on this.
So,
Yeah.
but the fact of it is, this is a pretty good project, the way it fits into this Grove area. You have three, maybe four different ways you can go out of there that splits the traffic up. I mean, you go out to 54. You actually go out to 54 and then turn and go to 54, two different directions. And then you also can go over to Old Pasco Road, which is going to be 4-lane pretty soon, and that's going to handle a lot of that traffic. You go back to the north and you hit overpass and go across, or you can go on down and hit 52, but all that's going to be 4-lane. So the infrastructure is coming to handle this project and the people they've already got there. So, but a very walkable area and a lot of things for them to do in this area. So I particularly like the project, and it's actually, I think, the last piece they have to develop in that particular area of the Grove.
My questions might be for you, might be for the applicant, but the one thing that I was pretty insistent on was the WeWork type of office space. So I just want to make sure that we have that captured in the rules. And I'm not talking 4 offices in the sales office. I'm talking about dedicated workspace so that all the people that live in these apartments and townhomes in the area can put an office there.
Yes, ma'am. We did codify that in the conditions of approval number 30 with the WeWork space, quantifying the minimum square footage that would have to be done by the WeWork space outside of the leasing and maintenance office that would be existing there on site.
Okay, and how many square feet is that?
It'd be 1,000 square feet of office space outside of the leasing office.
Okay, so when it says here, requested entitlements, current entitlements, and this is where I think it was a little confusing. It says they currently have, the current entitlements are 1,171,303 square feet of commercial retail. But when I look up here at request entitlements, it didn't increase. Is that because they're not using all of their entitlements?
So
I'm just trying to figure out where it fits in here.
Absolutely. So because this is a substantial amendment, we didn't change anything to the approved non-residential entitlements. The only thing changing is the additional 275. So all of the applicants' non-residential entitlements to include that office space, the hotel rooms, the commercial retail, and the movie theater, all will still exist with this approval. We're just adding 275 residential apartments to the existing 300 that were originally approved by the BCC.
Okay, so that office space that's going to be within this building is absorbed within this 1,175,303 square feet of commercial retail?
Well, it would be within the 500,000 square feet of office entitlements that they currently have on the PD.
Okay, I'm in the wrong place then.
Yes, ma'am.
500,000, so it's within that. Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I have a question. How many apartment homes are there in the building that's already existing?
300 multifamily units.
Okay.
Well, yes, and right behind that is, I think it's a townhome project that is almost 100% cement, just kind of like the DR ones where I don't know if you've driven around in that area, so.
So this is going.
There's a lot of multifamily in that
The
area.
modification's going from, you're increasing it by 200?
275, yes, ma'am.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
So, what have they built out there between the office space, hotel, et cetera, for their entitlements? And what is this going to do to the space available to actually fill out those other entitlements that are there?
Do we want to have the
Pushing those
applicant
residential.
present?
No, I want to ask Will that.
Okay.
Apologize, I'm checking my notes here for the entitlement tracker since this is a lot of entitlements up here. I'm going to ask Mr. Syverson to pull up, we have an entitlement tracker with each MPUD at the county. It's an ongoing Excel spreadsheet. So to give you the most up-to-date numbers because of site plan, I'm going to have him pull that just because I don't know if any site plans are in review. Well, does anybody want to hear a joke during the dead air? Or Barbara could talk?
Or we can dance.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, on the hauling, 'cause my husband, I was texting with him while we're going through that. He said the recycle hauling cost him more than the regular hauling, so we've stopped recycling our boxes.
Yeah, recycling is not what people think it is anymore.
So currently, right now, this project has used 562,385 square feet of their commercial retail entitlements, 120 hotel rooms, and so far none of the office space has been used.
What? There's office there. There's office, because we had a meeting in one of the offices upstairs.
That's a
And
retail.
maybe classified as
Yeah.
commercial and not as office.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There's also
Interesting.
So,
Does that
Madam
answer
Chair?
your question?
Yeah, pretty much. So what you see is you don't have all the hotel, all the office, and by adding almost double the amount of apartments, you're going to take away from space that was designed when this was approved, where I was here when this was approved, many years ago, that you're going to have something where at 5475 is going to create some jobs. What you're doing now is allowing these apartments to come in, and you're going to find out it's not going to come forward. These other dollars that are going to create jobs. And you're just going to add more traffic. This goes completely against what the MPD was approved for years ago.
I think there's some pads still suitable for development that, where a hotel could go. But we may hear from the applicant. But that's why I was insistent on the WeWork kind of space, so there would be offices there.
You don't even have now.
No, they're gonna put it in there. They're putting it in.
Barbara Wilhite, 6327 Grand Boulevard.
Maybe it's not big enough.
I've been, had the pleasure of representing this project for over 15 years. I've represented it with the prior owner, represent the current owner, Mr. Gold, who's here. I've watched this project evolve. What we're requesting to do is to add a second phase of apartments, 275 apartments. And the way I did this, I know there's a lot of questions about the entitlements and traffic review. I could have requested to use the LUM, Land Use Equivalency Exchange Matrix, and reduce the non-residential to increase the residential and not have any transportation impact or analysis. Actually, people suggested that I do that because it was easier on the paperwork, and I said, no, we're going to seek an increase in residential entitlements, 275, and we're going to do the traffic analysis for it. So could have messed with the entitlements and reduced some to increase these, but didn't do it that way. And so we did do a traffic analysis, although the other way we could have done it, we wouldn't have had to, because there was a land use equivalency exchange matrix already approved. The project, the first phase has been wildly successful. It's a 3-story walk-up product. This will be 4-story with elevators. So to kind of give some choices, if you want to have an elevator product because you don't want to carry your groceries up, or if you want to do the walk-up 3 stories. So that's how this will interact. One of the things you can see regarding the apartments, and again, it's being developed by the same people who developed the first phase. Their first phase was leased up above, exceeded averages and expectations. And what's really interesting is their retention rate, because now that first phase has been in the ground long enough that people's leases are coming due. And normally you see only about half the people re-execute their leases to stay, and they're seeing 75 to 80% of their tenants want to stay. This is a good location. This is a classic mixed-use project, the way we're always asked to do them. It allows the retail to stay vibrant. I have watched this project go down because all of the national tenants, the new tenants, all want to be at 56. And some of the national chains just went out of business. Toys R Us, Babies R Us. So when Mr. Gold came in and reinvigorized this project, it wasn't without a lot of effort. Crate's very successful. Those are small businesses. In the downtown center, those are small businesses. He's really relying upon this, he's bringing a place for small businesses. But what small businesses need, they need foot traffic. And the fact that there's more residences that we're proposing here, or more people that can go on a Thursday night, on a Wednesday night, maybe even on a Monday night when there's no real traffic that visits some of these restaurants. We have a restaurant complex, there's entertainment, retail, multifamily. Yes, we have dedicated 1,000 square feet vertically integrated office space, co-working, sharing space that'll be open to the public. It's a very good project, and I don't think there's anything here that's being taken away. We're trying to evolve this project over time and keep it viable. It's 165 acres. This is not a walk in the park to try to keep 165 acres project like this viable over time as nationals go out of business and as some of the newer projects take away a lot of the users, a lot of the businesses. So With that, I just wanted to explain, Steve Henry is here, can tell you about his transportation analysis. You know what he's going to say, this meets the code. He did traffic counts. The traffic counts included the apartments because the apartments are already existing, the 300. I certainly can bring him up here. This is a good location. This will be helpful. This is a vote for this project. This is a vote for Mr. Gold, who has done a great job at bringing this project back. And I want to see him successful because it's been a tough road for this project over the years. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Can you point on the map where this is going exactly on that picture that's right in front of us?
Sure. If I can figure out how to. It's in front of the movie theater that Mr. Gold has also taken over to revitalize when Cobb moved out. If anybody wants to show me how to use this new thing.
You see where that white square, that white rectangle is in the northern part of the
Which
outline? Yeah, right
Which
there.
white
Right there, yes.
So it's going to be blocked?
I wasn't through
So the
explaining.
apartment building is going to be blocking the view from the highway. Now you're going to see a parking lot and an apartment building, not see that. What's left of the property, is it just to the southern part, or what else can be developed down there on this
Next to
parcel?
the Dollar Tree.
There is a,
Yeah.
probably can get Mr. Gold up here that could
One,
explain
Well, I'm
what
looking to see
he's working on.
what's open land now, because we're taking up 275 spaces for the apartments. In spaces that could be something else, what is left for the land, empty land that's out there?
Mr. Gold will need to tell you what parcels he still has to develop, and clearly many opportunities to redevelop, because this complex has a lot of square footage left to be redeveloped and to change over time. So let me have Mr. Gold tell you about what he has left to develop.
Did Mr. Gold stand up?
He did.
Hi, Mr. Gold.
He was sworn in.
Okay, a very heavy accent. I apologize. If somebody want to laugh, please. Okay. Yes, I have a 3 lot or 4 lot.
Wait, name and ad-
Name, address, and whether you've been sworn.
Excuse me?
Name,
My name is
address,
Mar Gold.
your address,
My address is Sunny Isle and 300 Sunny Isle. And
and you have been sworn.
yes, I apologize. Thank you. I know that do this so often. I have approximately leftover approximately 150,000 square foot to build for retail. It's another 3 lot inside the Grove. Also, I have an Old Pasco Road, another 6 acre, 6.3, and I need to think what I'm doing with that. Also, I have behind the movie theater also an Old Pasco Road, 27 acre, and I still need to think what I'm going to do with that.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
I mean, with this MPUD is what I'm looking at.
Yes, that's exactly.
Well, you still have is there a piece of land next to Chuck E. Cheese?
Exactly. I have, beside Chuck E. Cheese, I have 1 land. Beside Dollar Tree, I have 1 land.
Yes, that's a big one.
Beside the gym, I have another land. Total, it's approximately supposed to be 120 to 150,000 square foot, and I allow to build over those. And everything's supposed to be commercial.
Are those yours on the corner of Oakley Boulevard and Wesley Grove Boulevard as well? Those 2 lots?
Yes.
Yes.
It's going to
so
be
there's
hotel
still-
on one side.
There's still sites left.
So what are the plans for office and hotel?
Hotel, it's already, I have LOI signs. Is
You don't have to say who it is.
Okay.
You just have a hotel.
I have hotel signs, 120 room. It's already signs, it's supposed to be go ahead.
For the office? For the office?
The office I not decide yet because office have very tough time to rent now. Extremely tough time.
I don't know. We all know people that have owned businesses on Old Pasco Road that tried to find office space to rent. They couldn't find anything.
Please, please, give him my phone number. I have three available offices. I have tough time.
You know, I think there's high demand for office in certain little micro areas of the county and not in others. Because my husband has some clients that want office space. They want to be in a certain spot, and that's it. And
I would love for you to get with David Engel and our team to go look at doing something to give you some incentives for office space out there.
Beautiful, no problem.
so, you know, Mark, I think what you've done there is amazing.
Thank you.
I just hear how people love going to your crate, which was super innovative, and so innovative that we had a very hard time permitting it because we'd never done anything like that before. So
people call us from all over the United States about the crate.
Yeah.
Wesley Chapel become famous because you have
Yeah.
the crate.
And I think that your residents that come here will be able to just walk or ride their bike down to everything. I am grateful that they agreed to this layout where they're lining the road. It'll be much more of an urban feel. You know, if we had known better whenever this whole thing started, I think David Engel and I would say we could have had it downtown here. We could have had a walkable community with shops below and residential above, and that whole field that's, really creates great value and a lot of money for the developer and would have been good for the county. But what you've done is innovative, and I'm supportive of your apartments as long as it has the office dedicated in it.
Thank you.
And I hope that 1,000 feet is big enough to make how many, does that get you a boardroom and private offices and little offices? That's not my world, so it seems kind of small.
Stephen Epps, 4411 West Melrose Avenue. It's a minimum 1,000 we'll do, so once we start laying it out, we'll put, conference room, common area space, multiple offices, open area. So we'll start to lay it out and but yeah, we want to provide good office space for it.
My husband mentioned that he just had a meeting yesterday at one in Tampa with Dewey Mitchell and some other people, and he said, and it's his first time in one, and he said it was just amazing the amount of business energy that was going on in the building. And so, so I am supportive, and I think you may find you need more than that space. And it's another revenue generator.
For the record, will you state if you were sworn? I believe
I
you
was,
were.
yes.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, Mr. Golden, it's been fun to watch the crate evolve, and so much so that appreciate your team looking into the pedestrian safety aspects of it just because of how successful the area has become, and as we've grown younger and families coming to get to the crate, and then, the downtown revitalizing and trying to get people to connect, to go and back and forth. It's a problem, but it's a good problem to have, right? Because folks are coming and going, and now with the putt-putt golf course next to the, where this project is looking, and Chuck E. Cheese, I just hope that this project will just bring more foot traffic to the businesses that are here. If there was ever an appropriate place in this county to have multifamily, this is it. We have a lot of multifamily all over the county that, I've been critical of, but this project is certainly appropriate if there ever was a place. And I just hope that it helps keep the folks who are in business here, stay in business a lot longer, and attract more people to come into your remaining parcels. So, I hope that this is a nice addition to folks who live there. Hopefully your retainage rates and your rents stay for where they are, and the next evolution of the Grove is a good one. So appreciate y'all being here today.
I do want you to make sure Chuck E. Cheese has their required landscaping. No crepe myrtles.
That mouse lives in those palm
I'm looking,
trees.
and I think the trees are missing.
The mice lives in those palms.
My comment is I'm not a huge fan of multifamily, but I agree with Commissioner Waitman that this is a good place to have it. And the
tenant,
access to 75 and.
and my tenant really need it because it's really busy in the weekend and the date and the week time. It's not so much traffic.
Okay, this is a public, did you have another question?
Yeah,
Okay,
just a
because I didn't take public comment.
A comment, and, you know, I think what you've done out there has been great. I just think that with all the apartments we have in the area, we don't need them. The one thing with the lot, if you were gonna build an office complex, and, you know, I've seen, you see them up down I-75, like right above you at Old Pasco Road, where they had the old waste utility site with spray field. We got big buildings on there, so if a building wants to come in, kind of like you see on highways, et cetera, they can advertise a big office. Big companies can come in from that.
Okay.
If you take this apartment and put it here, instead of maybe that 6-acre parcel you have up on Old Pasco Road, you take away a prime site at an office complex or something big could actually be seen from the highway and generate some attention, as opposed to building another office complex just harder to get to, harder to see.
I really try to do my best, and everything what I promise and I do from day one, I really keep my promise. I try to think about office building. This lot, it's not a office building, believe me, because the idea, it's put the lot and it's be access enough to people come. And over there, I show this to, I don't know how many developer, and everybody refuse this lot. But I have another idea. If you tell Mr. Angel to call me after or be contact with me, I'm going to be appreciated.
He's sitting right there, Mr. Engel. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so I'm looking to see if anyone wants to speak to this item. Do we have anyone online?
No, ma'am.
Okay, it's to the board.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Call for opposed.
Call for opposed.
Oh, opposed?
Nay.
Okay, sorry. I was wondering if you voted on the aye. He must have heard that too.
I heard nothing.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it.
Okay. All right, I think we're done. So
Back to your commissioner.
we're back to commissioner items and we're on Commissioner Yeager.
Okay, I'm ready, I guess I'll start. Well, I wanted to start with,
Oh, did you
I am
read someone's
working with Andy Fossa, and we are working with the Lighthouse of the Blind and the Deaf of Hard of Hearing for hurricane shelters. So we're going to utilize a school on the east side and on the west side in the gymnasium to have a special section where they can be cared for. We're gonna make sure we have the appropriate signage, and we are going to be getting the ASL logo, so it will be on all social media, and also make sure that we have a contract with a interpreter. We are also trying to get some money for iPads, and we would utilize a program called VRI. So we're just trying to make sure our citizens with disabilities are able to know when lunch will be served and things are happening. So that's something we're working on.
Commissioner, maybe many public entities have to get new iPads or whatever every so often,
Yeah.
and you might be able to get them donated when they do the refresh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you have to look into that.
Okay, so, and this is, I went with the Early Learning Coalition. I'm on the board there, and we visited 3 preschools. And one of them we read a book to, and the other 2 I don't know, we were there, it was like 3 hours, so. And these kids were so cute. They didn't have like stranger danger. They were coming up wanting to play with us, and it was just it was the highlight of my week. It was great. So, and this was the Premier's Breakfast, which I know a lot of you were there. So, and that was great. Kathy Pearson had an award. She's on vacation, but she was recognized for all her amazing work. So, and that's all I had.
Commissioner Mariano.
Just had a couple of things. One was at Premier Breakfast as well. Let's say, what a great turnout again.
Yeah.
They do a great job presenting what they do. Speakers are great. Just doing a great service for us. And we had the beach tennis tournament up at Sunwest Park. And I was one of the players as he actually won the championships for the ladies on Sunday. But we got a little issues up there that we can deal with. When the water gets up, there's no drainage put underneath. The sand is not the same quality that it used to be. So Keith is looking at putting in a plan to put some drainage in so that you can have this a little bit better sand, number one. You can see there's a little bit of rock there as well, which is not good.
No.
So there's a way to put a retaining wall in. It could probably bring another row of 7 courts that could be out there, which beach tennis, we had people coming from Brazil, Puerto Rico, Texas. As a matter of fact, the American team that won Saturday was from Texas, and they played a great game right to the final point.
Are they playing in sand with those rocks?
Well, they did play on that was a part a little to the side.
Okay.
But it was kind of draining down to the end. But if you look at all the water in these fields, it was just tough to go. And again, they didn't put drainage in place. And again, the sand quality is not what it used to be. He got some sand in that just is not as good. And the players made comments of it. Matter of fact, the American team that actually won on Saturday was afraid to play on it and almost didn't play. And the gentleman who was in the finals for the men, in the finals in the last game, he was playing with a student. It was really kind of cool. So you had the teacher and the student playing together, and they got all the way to the finals. And right down to probably halfway through, he came down hard and hurt his knee, and he couldn't finish the game. He had to forfeit out. So I don't want to see that again. The only negative complaint was really to that situation. They loved the park. They loved seeing the wakeboarding out there. They loved seeing the floatable out there. The trail around the park, they were like thrilled because they're all families there, and they played music all the way through. And they just had a great time. They want to come back again. And I told them I was going to work on making some improvements out there, and we're going to work on that with Keith as we speak now. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Nothing? Okay, one of you two. Nothing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, to me?
It's to you.
Okay, well, we mentioned already about Keep Pasco Beautiful. You can go to keeppascobeautiful.org to sign up. That's that site visit to G&H with the Congressman Bilirakis. I also went with him. He asked me to attend. It's not on here, but he spoke. You can go to the next picture. He spoke to the city of Newport Richey. He got a congressional allocation for them to build senior housing in the city of Newport Richey, and he was having a lot of trouble getting that through.
Yeah.
And he got a lot of money for them. So he asked me to go and support, so I did. Hopefully that's moving forward, but if you know anyone in the city of Newport Richey.
No, we're moving on to a different location.
Oh, so they're leaving the recreation?
Yeah.
Well, I told them if they don't want it, we'll take it, but I don't know. Are they staying in the city or are they moving to a?
We're just looking around right now.
Okay.
No, because we would have had to, there was a senior center on the parcel. So we would have had to knock down that senior center, and we did not want to do that.
Oh, I was told it was going behind the skateboard park where those trees are in the back corner.
Yeah, no, so we're just looking at a new piece of land.
So, okay, my staff attended the ribbon cutting for the Elfers Spur Trail extension. This is an extension of the Pinellas Trail along the former railroad corridor that's owned by the city of Tarpon Springs. It stretches 1.2 miles northwest from the city's North Anclote Nature Park to Anclote Boulevard, and it connects with the Pasco County's Anclote Coastal Trail, which needs some trees along it, along Anclote Boulevard. And some of that's in Pinellas County, so we need permission from Pinellas County to put some trees along it, shade it a little bit. We built the trail in Pinellas County with an agreement, and I'm pretty sure it agreed. It was also, we could put some landscaping on it. The refurbished Elfers Spur will include mid-block crosswalks, advanced warning signage at Dixie Highway, US 19, Alter 19, and LNR Industrial Boulevard. They received a Florida Department of Environmental Protection Recreational Trails Program grant to offset the cost. This is kind of a big deal because it connects to our coastal Anclote Trail that one day is going to connect to Sunwest Park, right, Jack?
You got it.
To me, the coastal Anclote Trail is the best trail in the county. It's so beautiful. Okay, I was a guest judge for the Chopped competition, and we had 2 of the 3 contestants here. Jacques what, I can never remember his first name. Jacques Hakim, oh yeah, Jacques Hakim and Mike Wells. As we all know, Mike doesn't touch anything healthy. He only eats meat and bread. So it was so funny to see him cooking here. Of course, he brought in a professional chef right there on his right. And Jacques hired this award-winning professional chef. But Mike didn't win one thing. I did vote for his appetizer, but it was very good. But I couldn't convince my other judges to award it to him. But Jacques won 2, and the lady in the middle won for the entree. And but Mike did bring in the most money, so he was happy. Okay, that's a great event. If you guys ever have a chance to go to that, it's a lot of fun. So this is something I've been meaning to bring up. We have an ordinance. I mean, our rules in this county are that tires have to be kept in a covered location. They cannot be exposed to the elements. One, it's unsightly, but 2, it's more from the Department of Health. When they trap water, and then there's mosquitoes, and the mosquitoes have disease. And we are not getting this done. Somehow we have forgotten that these are our rules. So I had Jenny just run out for an hour today and just take a few pictures on US 19 of what's going on. And this is going on all over the county. So we need to, especially if you see people are getting very sick right now from some of these mosquito-borne diseases, we need to enforce our regulations and tell them they cannot be piling their tires outside. Okay, last week, I don't think I took any photos, but I was at the Florida Governor's Conference on Tourism in Orlando.
You got it?
Oh, there is one? Okay, so actually the governor was there, and the governor's wife was there, so it's the first time since Governor Scott that I think that we had a governor at the Governor's Conference on Tourism. They were rolling out a new campaign. It was pretty cool. Can you go back? Can you go back? And it's the new campaign in Florida is called Florida Days. If you remember, they had Pitbull, and then they had another singer. I can't remember who the other one was. Well, this time it's they're honoring Jimmy Buffett, and he has a song named Florida Days. And so this guy that's in that with the guitar, that's Jimmy Buffett's guitar, and my husband knew who he was right away, McEnany or something like that. He's one of the Coral Reefers. Yeah. And then the other guy to the left is the president of Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville Inc., his business entity. And I had to leave the second day at the end of the day, so I didn't get to stay for the nighttime, but the Coral Reefers were playing there at the tourism, so did I say it right, Coral Reefers?
Coral Reefer Band.
Coral Reefer Band, yeah. But you'll be hearing this.
Probably a few reefers.
Anyway, tourism numbers are up, and they're doing better than they thought they were going to. So we didn't win any awards this year, but we're hoping for next year. We have some great ideas. There were some really interesting awards that were given out that gave us pause to think. Yesterday, driving up Stark. Oh, okay. This was sent to me by Mike Cox, former county commissioner. He says this is happening all over the place. Duke's coming in and putting in new poles, but they're leaving the old ones. And there's like a wire. They're cutting off the tops of the old ones, but there's one wire left on the old ones, which I think is a telephone wire. So imagine the visual clutter, because I can't stand those telephone poles to begin with, but now they're leaving another one everywhere. So I need to try and figure out what's going on. I want our county staff to reach out to Duke and say, is this temporary? I mean, usually the telephone lines are on their poles, and I'm just guessing that's what's left. Didn't I send you 2 pictures? You can see there's still a little. I don't even know if there's one on that one, but they're just cutting off the tops of the old poles and leaving them. So, not okay. All right, so the sports facilities companies began the management operations. This is my TDC update, besides the governor's conference. So the new company has officially begun at Wiregrass Sports Complex, and we are looking forward to great things from them. And I just want to say, Commissioner Mariano, I think you need new sand out there at SunWest. I agree. Commissioner Yeager, I saw online the discussion about the park out at Moon Lake. And you know what? We need to fund parks. We did not fund their maintenance budget. And so this is what happens when I showed you what's going on. I showed you Green Key Park last time. Not a premier park at all. So when we don't give parks the money they need to do maintenance, we're gonna have substandard places. So with that, I think we are adjourned until 5:15.